wealth. It's the word that echoes through empty minds and rattles restless souls. Most people chase it as if it's a trophy, something to show off, post, or boast about. But that is not truth, not real wealth, not lasting power. Real wealth begins in the cavern of your mind. It's a mindset first, a habit second, a life reshaped. Think of Carnegie reading books by candlelight, Edison scribbling in notebooks after 10,000 failures, Lincoln studying law nights while the nation burned around him. They didn't chase money, they chased mastery. Wealth followed. If you believe wealth is a destination, you're walking backward. If you believe wealth is about what you have, you're blinded by surface illusions. Real wealth is who you become: resourceful, resilient, relentless. Wealth is the discipline to create value in places others see as waste. Wealth is the mindset that refines failure instead of fearing it. Wealth is not indulgence, it's integrity lived at your highest level, silently, daily. To build wealth, you must first build belief. Most people lack wealth because they don't believe they deserve it, and deep down, they don't believe they can handle it. They're anchored by small thinking. They limit their fortunes before the world even gets to name them worthy. Change that story. I can grow, I can serve, I can build. Until that belief lives in your blood, wealth remains a wish, not a reality. Belief clarifies purpose. Purpose magnifies actions. When purpose meets persistent action, you structure mass into momentum. That's what Eisenhower did in war rooms. That's how Jobs launched Apple in a garage. That's how Ford risked everything to bring cars to every American. They didn't stumble into wealth. They designed it with disciplined vision. Clarity is what separates noise from navigation. Most people drift. They follow trends, hype, social validation, then wonder why they feel broke inside. Clarify who you are becoming. Define the value you bring. Create systems that amplify that value. Wealth quotes eventually fade, but your system of value remains. You won't get rich working harder where others slack. You get rich working smarter where others sleep. You get rich by playing long-haul games that leave short-term pleasure junkies stranded. Because wealth works like compound interest in your mind. Repeat base beliefs wins over time multiplied. Discipline is your wealth engine. It's not deprivation, it's design. It's how you dominate discomfort. It's how you show up when motivation expires. Most people stop when feelings slip. You don't ask, "Do I feel like it?" You say, "This is what I do." That's how you leverage energy beyond emotion. That's how you build power beyond paycheck. Action is the only true wealth deficit reducer. You can envision abundance, study strategy, quote Napoleon Hill, "If you don't act, you don't grow." Action converts thought into currency. It turns vision into validation. It turns strategy into results. Edison illuminated the world by inventing. You illuminate your world by executing. Gratitude gives wealth an anchor. Wealth without gratitude is greed. Purpose without gratitude is entitlement. When you feel gratitude for every lesson, even the painful ones, you build inner sufficiency. That peace becomes your wealth magnet. People sense it. Opportunities orbit it. That's why wealthy minds are thankful first and ambitious second. Adaptability is the wealth accelerator. Markets change. Industries evolve. People pivot or perish. Wealth stays with the adaptable. Lincoln steered a nation through collapse. Ford reinvented manufacturing. Disney pivoted when creative fires shifted. You must be willing to recalculate while holding your convictions. That is how wealth multiplies, not by rigid plans but by intelligent flexibility. Resilience is the backbone of lasting wealth. Every entrepreneur fails. Every leader falls. Every visionary faces rejection. But resilience means rising, fast. It means forcing forward through loss, through setbacks, through self-doubt. Resilience teaches the mind that discomfort is not defeat. It's an invitation to expand. That's the truth wealth whispers to strong spirits. Learning is your wealth strategy. Wealth never asks, "Am I smart?" It asks, "Am I teachable?" Carnegie consumed books. Ford learned from every screw. Edison dissected mistakes. Lincoln wrote letter after letter, speech after speech. You must become a student of strategy, psychology, finance, and character. Knowledge isn't enough. Action born of knowledge builds wealth. Now understand something profound. Most people fail because they misunderstood wealth. They believed wealth is about having. They forgot it begins with becoming. You're ready not because the world says so, but because you said so. You're ready not because someone opened a door, but because you knocked it down. You're ready not because you feel like it today, but because you decided it. You must decide. Because no wealth worth having is born from convenience. It is born from fire. Internal, focused, unshakable fire. The kind of fire that keeps you learning when the world is partying. That wakes you up at 5 a.m. while others dream about the life you're already building. That makes you invest when others spend. That makes you build when others scroll. That makes you silence distractions, because you've made up your mind that wealth is no longer optional. It is required. Wealth demands identity, and identity is not inherited. It is constructed, brick by brick, belief by belief, action by action. You do not stumble into wealth. You shape your thoughts until they carve the kind of person who can carry it without collapsing. Let others focus on looking rich. You focus on becoming unbreakable, because wealth will not tolerate weakness. It exposes you. It tests your character. And if you haven't done the inner work, the moment it arrives, it will leave. Most people aren't poor because of lack of money. They're poor because they cannot hold value. They leak energy. They lack focus. They bleed confidence. They chase validation over mastery. Wealth only flows to those who can contain it. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. You don't become a millionaire by wishing for more digits. You become it by solving bigger problems, by raising your standards, by demanding more from yourself before the world ever rewards you. This is why most people never touch wealth. They fear responsibility. They think success is freedom. It's not. Success is pressure. It's decision after decision made in silence. It's the weight of self-leadership, when there's no one to blame, nowhere to hide, no one to bail you out. And still, you stand. Still. You move forward. Still. You answer the call of your higher self, while the average seek permission. That's what separates the wealthy in spirit from the wealthy in appearance. You must not chase money. You must attract it. And attraction is built by alignment. When your values match your actions, you become magnetic. When your service outweighs your ego, you become unstoppable. When your thoughts, speech, habits, and goals move in one direction, you become a force of nature. Wealth cannot ignore a human being on fire with aligned intention. Don't envy the rich. Study them. Study how they think. Study how they choose. Study how they protect their time, their energy, their focus. Because the greatest fortunes were not built on luck. They were built on decision, on courage, on delayed gratification, on saying no to the good so they could say yes to the great. And you? You're capable of the same. More, even. Because you've suffered. Because you've struggled. Because you've seen what it's like to have nothing but a vision. And you still moved forward. That's wealth. That's what makes you ready. You are already wealthy the moment you realize that nothing external defines your value. It's not in your car, not in your clothes, not in your followers or your fame. It's in your discipline when no one's watching. It's in your decisions when no one agrees. It's in your character when no one's clapping. Wealth will find you when you no longer need it to feel whole. And paradoxically, that's when you receive it. Because you've become someone who can multiply it. Not just in dollars, but in impact, in generosity, in legacy. The true wealthy don't hoard. They expand. They lift others. They solve problems. They turn their minds into machines of service. They think differently. They speak with precision. They act with boldness. And you will too. Because you're not waiting anymore. You're not doubting anymore. You're not asking for permission from people who gave up on themselves. You are stepping into the life that was always yours, the one that required fire, not comfort, conviction, not luck, sacrifice, not shortcuts, and you're ready now. Not tomorrow, not one day, now. The moment you say, "I'm ready," the universe listens. Not because it's magic, because it's mathematics. The law of cause and effect has always been in motion. The seeds you plant today grow tomorrow, but only if you plant them on purpose. Wealth is not random. It is not accidental. It is the result of intentional alignment between your thoughts, your time, your discipline, and your decisions. There are no wasted hours on the path to mastery. Every second you invest in learning, in action, in refinement, it all compounds. Like unseen roots growing deep under pressure. Most people give up in the invisible phase, when the results haven't shown up, when the world hasn't clapped, when the bank account hasn't caught up with the belief. But you stay in the dark until it's time to bloom, because you know that wealth shows up after you've proven you're serious. Wealth respects persistence, not the kind that hustles blindly, but the kind that refuses to betray its mission. It's the Edison mindset. Test 1,000 times if needed. It's the Carnegie vision. Empower thousands of minds. It's the Lincoln patience. Hold your ground until the moment is right, then strike with moral clarity. You don't get to keep wealth if you only want it when it's easy. You keep it when you commit, no matter what. You are building something eternal, a mind no fear can buy, a spirit no failure can shake, a standard no one can lower. That's wealth, because when others fold, you fortify. When they spend, you invest. When they chase hype, you study principles. When they seek comfort, you seek the edge, and the edge is where wealth is made. Let's make this brutally clear. If you are broke in your habits, you will be broke in your life. If you are poor in your focus, your future will be poor in rewards. If you are weak in your self-leadership, you will follow the crowd straight into mediocrity. But if you shift, if you begin to master your mornings, protect your mind, sharpen your thinking, respect your time, strengthen your word, you become a magnet for wealth, not just financial, but mental, emotional, relational, spiritual, full spectrum abundance. Because wealth isn't about more, it's about alignment. It's about peace with purpose. It's about being so locked into your mission, so dialed into your standard, so faithful to your principles. That success can't help but find you. You become a force of gravity. Opportunities orbit you. People trust you. Ideas flow through you. Because you are no longer chasing wealth. You've become the kind of person who creates it. The average will laugh. Let them. The comfortable will criticize. Let them. The fearful will call it risky. Let them. Because while they're waiting for a guarantee, you're out building an empire, not on borrowed confidence, not on surface skills, but on identity forged in fire. You will be tested, tempted to return to small thinking, pulled toward comfort, mocked by people who quit on their own potential. But every time you stand firm, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you refuse to complain, you build mental equity. Every time you work while others rest, you gain the invisible advantage. Every time you silence fear, you speak the language of wealth. And the language of wealth is action. Consistent, clear, courageous action. Not emotion-driven, not motivation-dependent, just non-negotiable movement toward mastery. It's the daily disciplines that look boring to the world, but build an extraordinary life. Reading when others scroll, planning when others hope, sacrificing today for what can never be taken from you tomorrow. That's how the real ones rise. That's how wealth is born. Now, take this truth and tattoo it on your mind. You're not waiting for wealth. You're already walking in it. You're planting it in the way you think, in the way you lead, in the way you persist when it's dark. That's the wealth no one can see, but everyone will feel when you arrive. And make no mistake, you are arriving. There will come a moment, a silent, sacred moment, When you'll look around and realize the world didn't change. You did. You'll see others still running in circles, still outsourcing their value, still addicted to distraction, still chasing the illusion of wealth while you've become it. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped needing permission. You stopped hoping for the miracle. You became the cause, the generator, the root of your own revolution. And wealth? It was never the destination. It was the consequence of becoming unstoppable. This world will offer you excuses. It will reward you for being average. It will praise your comfort and applaud your conformity. But you will outgrow their applause. You will trade validation for vision. You will trade shortcuts for strategy. You will trade fitting in for building a foundation no one can shake. Because you know something most never learn, that you are the asset, not the bank account, not the job title, not the clothes or the car or the followers. You. Your clarity, your grit, your unshakable standard. You were always the empire. You were just buried under years of doubt, decades of distraction, layers of noise telling you to be less than your potential. But no more. Today is not about motivation. It's about awakening. Today is not about hype. It's about ownership. Own your hours. Own your energy. Own your beliefs. Own your failures. Own your focus. Own your mission. Because once you own your mind, you own your destiny. You were not born to chase crumbs of comfort. You were not built to beg for opportunity. You are not meant to live small, shrink down, or dim your light for fragile egos. You were born to lead, to serve, to grow, to multiply, to ignite every room you walk into, to build something so undeniable, so bold, that the world cannot ignore your presence. That is real wealth, and you're ready for it. When the storms come, and they will, you will not shrink. You will stand taller, because storms don't scare those who've trained in the dark. You've bled for this vision, sacrificed for this mission, burned every bridge that led back to mediocrity, and now you are walking forward, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. This path, this climb, this fire, it's not punishment. It's purification. It's how diamonds are made. It's how kings are crowned. It's how legacies are written. So keep going. Don't stop when it gets hard. That's when most people quit. You're not most people. Don't pause when it gets quiet. That's when wealth whispers its secrets. Don't panic when results delay. That's when momentum is building in silence. Don't look around. Don't compare. Don't seek applause. Be the storm. Be the standard. Be the one who didn't fold. This is your time. This is your birthright. This is your battlefield. Fight for it. Fight with vision. Fight with honor. Fight with focus sharper than fear. Because you didn't come this far to stay the same. You came to rise. You came to build. You came to conquer, not others but yourself. To master the inner kingdom, to turn thoughts into gold, discipline into dynasty, clarity into empire. This is the truth about wealth. And you're ready. Now go prove it. Every day, every thought, every step. This is your season to dominate. Don't wait for fortune. Become the force that creates it. Let the world watch. Let the old version of you weep. You're not coming for the throne. You are the throne. And from this moment forward, you reign.